Norton motorcycles. For some of you, it will be pure nostalgia, and for others, well, there's a few nightmares, but they've really turned the page since TVS acquired them in 2020. They've got a whole new state-of-the-art facility in Solihull, and they are back on the scene, and they are back on the scene in a big way with this, the new Commando 961. And today, well, we've had the pleasure of riding it, and what a pleasure it has been. And just look at it. If you're a fan of the glory days of biking, if you're a fan of rawness, then you're gonna absolutely adore this thing. It's just absolutely stunning up close. There was always a space for Norton in its previous guys. It was a really specialist, a really down-to-earth motorcycle that was just pure, and they've retained that. Although it's got 350 new parts, well, over 350 new parts since the last generation, it is still that bike at heart. From the analog clocks to that 961cc air and oil cooled engine, yeah, air and oil cooled, it is just stunning. And the way that they've done the worlds, the way that everything is put together, it really is a premium bit of kit. All it is basic ABS on this. There is no rider modes, there's no traction control. It is about as raw as you can get in 2022. But saying that, it's still stylish. It's not a truly old school beast. It comes with modern Brembos. It comes with fully adjustable Olin suspension. There's a really nice attention to detail on it. I mean, if you just look at it up close, like the handcrafted exhaust, the way that the worlds are just absolutely stunning. You can see that so much time and effort have gone into making one of these bikes, which is vital when you look at the price. You're looking at £16,499 for this with the higher bars, and £16,999 for this, the Cafe Racer spec with the clip-ons. So it's worth drawing a line between the old Norton and the new Norton. That's what the company has done. It's not been easy. It's not been an easy ride for customers. It's not been an easy ride to watch as a biking fan. But they've put in so much development work into creating a bike that, although it's the same platform, it is so different. They said they got thousands of hours underneath them. They've built a whole new system, a whole new rig for testing bikes. They've got whole new processes of testing out their parts. They really have gone to town on everything from reliability to product testing. They've just really tried to turn a corner, and to be honest, that shows. It shows in the finish of these bikes, and it shows with how confident they are as well. So in terms of figures, you're looking at just over 76 horsepower from that 961cc engine, 81 newton meters of torque, and a wet weight of about 230 kilograms-ish. So it's not going to break any speed records, it's not going to be super duper fast, but that is not what this bike is about. This bike is about being bare bones, it's about being raw, and it is about the riding experience. I can say that it's unlike pretty much everything else on the market today. I'm really lucky to ride a whole range of bikes, from modern sports bikes to retros to budget bikes to everything in between. I've not ridden a bike that feels so old-fashioned that is so new. Now, the way to describe it is it's just so raw. So you get on it and the engine just sort of ticks over almost agriculturally. I know the word character is bound around a lot, but this thing, it just echoes it for its soul. You get it going and it's just really chuggy, it's really loud, it's really aggressive. It's helped by the fact that it doesn't actually have Euro 5 certification, so it's got single vehicle approval, so you don't have any of that to go through. And getting going and getting riding, it's just such a different experience. I literally felt like I was transformed back into like the 70s, the glory days of biking. There is so much torque on offer. From 3,000 RPM onwards, it just pulls like a train. And it keeps on going too. It's not actually too bad. The engine offers a load of punch and you can have quite a lot of fun with it. It's not the most agile thing in the world. It's not going to be sort of there for big knee downs and big corner speeds, but it does offer you quite a lot of feeling, and it's really stable too. side though, there are a few things about the Commando that I didn't quite like. For starters, the switch gears, they aren't the most premium looking things in the world. I would have liked something a little bit nicer, especially when you're spending that much money on this bike. The swing arm, I think, could have been done a little bit nicer as well. It doesn't quite match up with the really nice finish and the welding on the frame. When riding it, the gearbox isn't the smoothest system in the world. You've really got to get it into gear, and getting into neutral can be quite difficult. And I'd really like to have seen a sixth gear as well. If you're cruising above 60 mile an hour, it's sort of quite buzzy. I was sort of looking for another gear. It's also worth noting that when turning it around and moving it about, there isn't a lot of steering lock. I would have liked a little bit more, especially on the Cafe Racer where the bars are quite low anyway. And another little thing that I just found a little bit annoying was that there was no spring on the foot pegs. So if you sort of flicked them up when you were flicking the side stand up, they stayed up, and a few times I sort of lost my foot in. But then again, I do have to remember that a lot of this bike is about function over fashion and creating a bike that Norton say is true to them. Being someone who's blessed to ride so many bikes, you always go for the smoothest, simplest, sharpest or fastest or most comfortable thing, but this is none of them. Yet riding it today, it's a whole different experience. I love riding it because it just felt special. It felt old school. It felt just how motorcycling should be. It was just raw and visceral and just absolutely glorious. We were lucky enough to ride both today. The only difference between the two, besides the price tag, is the bars, and that means the riding position as well. I've got to say that the Cafe Racer, the one with the tapered bars, is really aggressive as a riding style. So I'm more than happy to sit on sports bikes, riding them all day, but that is very aggressive. So keep that in mind. I'm fairly young, all my body's fairly intact, and even after 45 minutes on that, I was feeling it on my wrists and in my back. This, the SP, this feels absolutely lovely. It's really comfortable. Everything's exactly where I expected it to be. And to be honest, I could quite happily see myself riding this on a Sunday, going to the beach, going to the cafe, going to the bike meet. It's just a really nice thing. In all honesty, I wasn't expecting to enjoy them as much as I did. As a riding experience goes, okay, the gearbox isn't perfect. The brakes, although Brembos aren't the sharpest tools in the shed, it's not the most agile thing in the world, but it's not meant to be. It is something completely different. In a world where everything is controlled by electronic rider aids, where everything is super smooth and super silky, this is just raw and rough and ready. If you've got the money and you want something different, you want something raw, but you don't want to get something that's 30 years old and that's going to come with problems, it's going to come with leaks, then this thing is a really viable option. It is a brilliant bit of kit. And after speaking to the team at Norton today, they've been working so hard on creating a bike that's not only reliable, but also a brand that is going to be there in the future. They've got some huge plans coming. There's going to be a naked bike coming up this year, powered by their V4, and they're also coming with 3 new models in the next 3 years, one of which they're saying is an EV. Norton are here to stay, and they are here to stay for the long run. And if these Commandos are anything to go by, then I think we're going to be in for a serious ride.